And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Now, you can't use that for 2 intros in a row.
Yes,
that is ridiculous. You did that the other day. What the hell is going on? There's no Big Josh Thompson except when you're talking about the size of his head.
Here, John, I got you. I got you, John. I got you. Ready?
John the Punk.
There you go, the
man.
Punk. I've been a punk my entire life, and now I've been officially titled.
Yes.
I feel good about it.
Speaking of big
What's up,
heads,
my
man,
man?
how's your head doing after that long trip?
My head's good. I got all the water out of me and everything. It's always like when you're on a flight, it's like you bubble up with water.
Yeah.
I am pissing all day long when I get home. But
I feel
I'm
a little
good
bit
now.
better.
I'm empty.
I feel a little bit better. I went for a little swim, got some work in, and just been good. I gotta say, man, this house is a disaster. John, you're not even moved into your house. I guess can't ask you shit.
Oh, go ahead.
you've
You
been
guys
living.
anything I live in a trailer.
Oh,
jeez. Talk to me.
Straight
Talk
trailer.
to me,
Josh.
We talk about
Josh,
trailer park. Yeah.
On the last show, you forgot to tell me about the people from Glasgow you met in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they were great, man. They were so awesome. There was a young girl that was I thought she was young. I thought she was like
Actually, she
maybe
wasn't.
like 20. She was there with her boyfriend or husband, I mean. But I thought they were just boyfriend girlfriend. They looked like a young couple. He probably looked like he was
So Josh was trying to take her away.
was not trying to take her away. I was but she was super energetic. She had like a lot of energy. They're Ranger fans. I don't know what that means, but I know you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Ranger fans. Are you a Ranger fan?
Yes, Rangers.
You are a Ranger fan. Well, okay, so tell me. I know it's soccer teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ranger. Then what's the other one?
Celtic.
Celtic. Now Celtic, and then
Okay,
so
that
is it-
makes
is
no
it-
sense because the Rangers are a baseball team in Texas and a fucking hockey team in New York. And the Celtics definitely play basketball in Boston.
That's so great. But they is it
they
divided
divide
by like where you
Glasgow.
live?
Yeah. No, well, Glasgow is divided by Rangers and Celtic. They're both Glasgow teams, and they pretty much divide Scottish football entirely.
Got it.
So, yeah, mostly throughout Scotland, you're either a Rangers or Celtic supporter. You know, there's a few people that hope for the best for the other teams throughout. But
Yeah, they were so nice though. But I swear I looked at her and I looked at him. I'm like, oh, you guys are a cute couple. He was probably about 6 foot. He might have been 6'1", and she looked to be 5'4", 5'5", and then she was talking to me. I'm like, she says, I'm like, well, I'm really short. I'm like, no, you're not short at all. Look at you. Like, she's like, I'm on 6-inch heels. She's 4'10". She was 4'10". I was like, oh my gosh, no way. She took her shoes off. She was tiny, like shorter than Sarno. And Sarno's not a big guy, So Sarno's going to hear this and be like, yes.
Oh.
I love it though. But they were super nice. They were great. I mean, we were a couple whiskeys deep, so I can't really recall a lot of the conversation. But they were great. They were funny, and they were like, oh, they wanted to know what team you liked and this and that. I think he's a Rangers fan because I had asked you that about 6 months ago, I think. And
yeah, we
you
talked
had told
about
me.
it for sure.
Yeah. But they were great, man. Sarno got their information, and I think we're going to try to get them to come out to the Dublin card,
Nice.
and be there. So, try to work something out where they can come out and enjoy it. It was awesome. They were so nice. Great. And then I left at like 11:30, and they stayed till about 3 with the rest of the crew, just putting them back. But this girl, she looked, I mean, you saw her, right, John?
Yeah.
How old did she look?
28, 29.
Really? You thought she looked that old? We all thought.
That's not old.
Everyone. No, I know,
That's
but
not old.
we all thought 22 maybe. I was thinking like 22, 24, somewhere in there. She was 32 with 2 kids. One was 16 and the other one was 11. She didn't look like she had any kids.
Got started early.
Yeah, but I was just like,
Wasted
damn.
no time on that.
She was tiny, but yeah, I don't know. Hey, but great people, super nice. They stayed and rocked out for a while. I cut out, went back to the room. I was getting jet lag. Anyways, well, hey, guess what? We're gonna have a great show. We had a great show the other day because we were running late. Look, I want to tell everyone, thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. And on this, I know John and I are gonna have these ups and downs where we travel, and with the time change, Japan's a day ahead. And so we're coming back, but we're like gaining ground. But then guess what? It just still doesn't work with the time we landed. It was like midnight. You didn't get home till 1. I didn't get home till midnight. It was like then trying to wake up early and get the show out. It's been pretty hectic. So here we are now, and we're going to talk about the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fight. This is a big fight this weekend. I mean, I consider it a big fight because what did I say, John? Give me a little pat on the back because almost over a year and a half ago, I said he's going to fight out his contract. Nate Diaz with the UFC.
He wants to fight Jake Paul.
Yep.
And
this is where we're at. And I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna continue to say this. He's gonna go back and get the Conor fight.
Did I say 1 week? We're a couple days away, I guess.
Yeah. We're a couple days away. I think he's gonna end up, no matter what happens in this fight, he's gonna end up going back to the UFC and he's gonna sign that fight with the Conor McGregor. I think that fight's gonna happen.
And you take a look at what do we always talk about for fighters? Hey, see what your worth is. Well, he's gonna make a shit ton for this fight with Jake Paul. And he goes back to the UFC. What's the only fight that he's going to make a shit ton?
Yeah.
Can
I ask you, do you think he'll make a shit ton? Because last I saw, the ticket sales of this fight weren't that great.
He still has a guarantee. And obviously, the more pay-per-views they do, that's the real question, and that's where he's going to make his most money. You can look at the butts in the seats that we always talk about, and that will definitely help his gate. But the promoter's the one that's going to eat it on that. The fighters aren't going to eat it on that.
Got it.
The promoter's going to eat it on that. So really, he has a set mark that he's going to get paid. I don't know what it is. But on top of that set mark, he will then get a pay dispersity when it comes to the first 100,000 pay-per-view buys. If it hits 200,000, if it hits 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, all those he gets additionally more. So, he has the ability, both he and Jake Paul, to make a shit ton of money, depending upon really it's pay-per-view, not how many butts are in the seats on this one.
My concern always will be that Jake is fast. Jake is young. Jake, sure, he doesn't have the experience that Nate has.
Jake's too fast.
I would have to agree with you. And one of the biggest things that I can try to explain to people is that when I fought Nate, I thought he was going to be faster than he was. And he was a lot slower than I thought he was.
Yeah. And that was how many years ago?
And it was. But what made me believe that, though, was when he fought Donald Cerrone. And I was like, dude, he was just peppering Cerrone and just tearing him up. And I was like, man, like it almost felt like he just couldn't see because he was fast. He couldn't see the punches coming. But when I fought him a couple years removed from that fight. It was probably about, 3-4 years removed from that fight. 3 years. It just wasn't, he was not fast. And I look at Jake, Jake's got the speed. Because even though Tyron Woodley was older, Tyron Woodley was still fast.
Yeah, he still had some speed in his hands.
And to knock somebody out the way he knocked out Tyron Woodley, being defensively and like understanding that to get in on a shot like that, you've got to have some speed. And he had some power and some speed behind that. And so, I don't know. I'm looking and we're going to see. This is when Nate's chin's going to truly be tested.
It's exactly it. I look at it and, if you're a smart person, betting person, you got to say, look, everything leans towards Jake Paul. Except for the fact that Nate Diaz is a dog. He will not stop. And the real question is, how mentally prepared is Jake Paul to have somebody that he is blasting at times, basically looking at him and going, fuck you. That's all you got? Because you know what Nate says, and I've heard him too many times in the cage when someone hits him hard. That's all you got? Fuck you. Right? And he keeps going. And can that affect a fighter? It can. Will it affect Jake? I'm not saying it will. But when you're hitting somebody with your best shots and they're walking through them at times, that is psychologically, it gets to you. It does.
Especially to a young fighter. Like a young fighter like this.
Absolutely. And you got to tell yourself, no problem, I'm just going to touch you again. And that's something you learn through time, and that's what experience and everything does. Is the 8 fights that Jake has enough experience for that? I look at size-wise, he's the bigger, stronger fighter by far. I look at speed-wise, he's much faster. Youth, yeah. I would expect that, he's in as good a shape as Nate, because Nate's going to be in shape. Nate can go. Nate has already proven he's got a hell of a gas tank. So you look at some of the intangibles and you go, it's hard to go against Jake in this fight. But the thing that you can never count on is heart. And you know that Nate Diaz has got heart, for days. He will not quit, but I'm not sure he can take repeated big shots from Jake Paul.
Yeah, I don't think he can take repeated big shots from Jake Paul. I also think that because they moved this fight to 10 rounds, that makes a huge difference on how this fight should play out.
If you're Nate, if you're Nate into those later rounds.
But I also think, and look, we can say that we've seen Nate Diaz fight MMA, but we've never seen him fight boxing. I've seen him spar. I've never seen him fight. I've never seen him. I've never seen him fight.
You're right. I've seen him spar. I've not seen him.
Yeah, I've seen him spar as well. But I've never seen him in a real boxing match. Yeah. The other thing is that when I had trained for him, I had made sure that I understood that he's not going to go down, and that not to waste my energy. Stick and move, circle, stick and move, circle. But I also looked at, and I'm giving this because when you guys are watching this fight, take a look at how Nate fights this fight in terms of, does he pressure him? Does he just walk at him when Jake circles off against the ropes? Does he chase him? Does he walk? Does he walk after him after Jake circles out? No. Get in this dude's grill and throw your shots. Yeah, and cover and counter, cover and counter, cover and throw.
Covering a space laterally. There's all kinds of exactly what you're
And so when you're watching this, if you see Nate just walking like he's got all the time in the world to get this win, he's going to end up losing. Now, if he comes in skipping at him a little bit, like a little bit of a shuffle towards him, like a boxer would, and then he'll come in defensively, let him throw his one big shot or his 1-2 big shot, and then look for Nate to let his hands go. And he'll just touch you. Yep. They don't need to be hard. If he can do that in the first, I'm not going to say the first round. I'm going to say the second, third, and fourth round. Because the first round, I think, is really going to be where he's got to show he's going to put pressure, but not allow Jake to really land the big hard shot and see what Jake does and how he reacts. If Nate walks him down, shuffles towards him, puts pressure, lets him throw his hard shot, and then comes to the body, then comes back up top to the head, and then as Jake circles out, he just shuffles towards him again, realizing that, look, I've only got 3-minute rounds or whatever it is. I've only got a certain amount of time to get after you, and each round I could be losing. I think that he's going to have to show that sense of intensity to get this job done, because I think Jake could easily walk away with the first 5 rounds and then Nate end up losing, a decision if it does get into those later rounds. He's got to show some intensity by the end of the second, into the third and the fourth and the fifth round. He can't let him steal those first 5 rounds. It's got to come down to that. And in terms of taking a shot, I think Nate will take the shot. He's got to just make sure he plays it safe in the first couple rounds. He's got to play it safe, be more defensive and then counter. And then as the fight carries on and you see Jake slowing down, then you start go ahead and get off first. I think he's got to wait to get off first because he's slow. You can't afford to try to get off first and have Jake counter you and land a big huge shot. He's got to put pressure, make him react, make him load up off that pressure, make him load up and throw his heavy hard shot, and then go ahead and touch him. Touch him with the body, touch him with the head, let him know you're there. And don't throw in just 1s and 2s like a lot of these guys that were fighting him were. Throws in 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s. Because we know Nate can do that in combinations.
Yep, no doubt about it. But I think the one thing you said, the body. You've got to attack that kid's body. There's one way to slow down someone who's in good shape and is physically strong. Body shots. Getting hit to the head, yeah, it can knock you out. But body shots will drain you of your strength. And I think that Nate needs to get into that early in the fight, get after the body, make him feel pressured. That will help gas him out even more. And at 10 rounds, drag him into the deep waters. Yeah. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think this should be a fun fight. It's going to be fun for us to see kind of where it's at, like where Jake is. What did he learn from the Fury fight? And
he learned, don't fight young, fast people.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, let's be honest.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to adjust something on this thing.
You can adjust anything you want.
But
do you want me to scroll down to the rest of the card feed on there and then?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, all right. Here we go. We got Cole May and Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy.
Yeah, that's what I look at. Like I love Heather Hardy. She's a sweetheart of a person, and she's a good boxer. I don't think she's. I think she's already fought Amanda Serrano once.
She did. She got
Pummeled.
beat up pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen again. Like Amanda Serrano is a hell of a boxer.
But I believe that was right after Heather had done was in Bellator and was focused on MMA a little bit. I think one of her first fights back was Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
And it just didn't play out the way, obviously, she was thinking, I'm going to come back and, I'll be just fine. No, time away from the sport, working on your grappling. You're not the same boxer anymore. So,
no, you're not.
That's a good little fight. And then what about the next one? We got that Jeremy Stevens, right?
No. Well, you've got Chris Avila versus Jeremy Stevens, which is an interesting matchup. Chris Avila very much like his mentor in Nate Diaz. They're good friends, and Chris follows Nate everywhere, is with him everywhere. But Jeremy Stevens really put on a great performance when he boxed against Aldo for George Masvidal's game-bred boxing that he did. Man, I'll tell you what, he actually boxed well. And I look at this, and there's one thing. Chris Avila, very much like Nate, but slow.
Yeah.
Not real fast. Jeremy Stevens still has fast hands. So it's an interesting matchup. Very tough person in Chris Avila, very tough person in Jeremy Stevens, but very tough person with speed. I think this might be a good fight for Jeremy Stevens.
All right. So that'll wrap up our Jake Paul, Nate Diaz conversation until the fight happens. But go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Make sure you guys subscribe to us over there. It is free. onlyfans.com/weighing-in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. I gotta get that content up, John. The Japanese
You
stuff.
still haven't put it up.
I haven't done it up, man. I've been swimming.
Oh, you
been swimming.
lazy bastard.
Yeah, gotta spend the time. I've been gone for we're gone 5 days, 6 days.
Gotta spend time with the kids.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead. We're gonna roll in right into the UFC main card this weekend, and let's talk about it. What is this? What card
UFC
is
Nashville.
UFC Nashville. They're just calling it Nashville. They're not calling it by a number.
Nope. Come to Tennessee.
All right. Let's go. Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. What are you thinking?
You think they'll give me tickets?
No.
Dana's back from vacation, so definitely not.
Damn it. I could have gone to Ratner and gotten tickets.
No, I don't think so.
It is what it is.
I don't think so. Bro, let me tell you a story. It's so funny. I was with Strikeforce, and I was like, whatever. They'll give me tickets. They gave me tickets. But they made it to point. Remember at the Pearl? I was in the very last row at the top. And I was like,
yeah, baby.
All right, I see how it is. So I walked down. I walked downstairs, talked to a couple people, and got some other seats. But it was, people that work for the UFC. They're like, "Oh no, I got you, buddy." They're like, "I got you." But then I saw Dana ask how I got tickets, and then they didn't. I don't know, whatever. I mean, I talked to my friend. They said they never talked to him about it. So I was like, all right, cool. Still with the company. It's doing all right. But anyways.
He's still with them.
No. Yep. But yeah, so Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. Look, there's been a change of opponent because of Umar. And Umar had surgery on his shoulder. You could see him, some photos that he posted up. He's starting the rehab and the recovery right now. And, he should be back probably. I would imagine he would be back training in within 3.5 to 4 months. And then I'd say probably within 5 to 6 months, you'll see him back in there in the cage. Being young, being very vigilant about his recovery in terms of his therapy. I think he'll be on top of it 100% because he knows he's 1-2 fights away from a title shot. That's where he's at. But this fight though makes for fun, man. It makes for fun. I can see that a little eye roll. What was that for?
No. I so much wanted that fight between Corey and Umar. I thought that was a fantastic matchup. I thought it was just when you look at certain styles and the matchups, there are fights that I can look at and I go, just what that guy does and what that guy does. Man, that's going to be fireworks. And I really thought that Corey against Umar was going to be fireworks. This is a great fight. It's just not the fight that I wanted. I wanted that Umar fight. I thought that that was going to say a lot about exactly where he was at, where Corey was at, because they both had their things that you can look at and say, yes, he's stronger here. But Rob Font, great fighter, good stand-up. I think he is the definite underdog in this fight. He's got, he's taken a little bit, as far as he had time to train, but not a full camp. Corey is way better than people give him credit for. I can't believe that he doesn't get the praise that he deserves based upon his skill set. He lost to Aljo, yes. He lost to frickin' Peter Yan in that interim one. But man, this dude is still improving.
Yeah.
You can see it in all of his fights. Every time he's getting better. And he's got a chin on him. He's got a great stand-up game. He's got beautiful knees. He's got a couple of phenomenal, knockouts from him and everything. Mm-hmm. And his ground game is good. It's not where he likes to be all the time, but it's good. It's not, I know that Aljo was able to, get his back and get the sub against him quickly, but that to me was just on that night. That's what happened. I think if they matched up, it would be a little bit of a different fight. Not that Aljo couldn't beat him again, but there's nobody, out there that Corey Sandhagen can't beat.
No, I agree. It's funny you say that because, I was like, oh, yeah, give Umar whoever. Just don't give him Corey Sandhagen. That was my thought. In my mind, I'm like, please, just he's the one, though, that has been through the fire. Taking the interim title shot with Yan and then fighting that fight, and the way he had moments in that fight where he looked impressive, very impressive, and took it on what, like a week's notice, 10 days notice, I believe is what it was. Yeah. It was a very short notice fight for him. And I thought he fought spectacular in that fight. I know he came up short, but fighters like him, they learn from those experiences. Not all fighters learn from the downs, of the sport. And you can tell that he has. He's got great knees, like you said, up the middle. He's got a couple highlight reel knockouts with the knees. He's slick with the hands. He sets everything up really well with his hands and his kicks. I've had guys that have come from AK or that, came into AK and they were training other locations and they were just bouncing around. They're like, I met this little skinny kid over in Denver or whatever it was and like sparring with him. He's like, I didn't know who he was. And then all of a sudden I see him on TV. He's just tearing everybody up. I was like, oh yeah. So, the kid is good.
Continue to do so.
He definitely doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's got to get more praise. I think the media's got to do a better job of giving him more praise. He deserves it. He's a dog. He will step in at any moment and fight anybody anytime. I think he did. He did what the UFC needs fighters to do. When you have someone like an Umar that you need to get matched up because all these other ranked guys are pussyfooting around. They just want to keep their rankings. Nah, man, this guy, he understands. Like, no. If I can't beat this guy, I shouldn't be champion anyways. I love that about him. Like, he'll fight anybody. Everyone was complaining that Habib got a title shot because of this, and this. No one, he didn't fight anybody. Dude, when dudes don't want to fight you, there's nothing the promotion can do. They can't force them. Those fighters are okay with sitting out for 6 months, 8 months. Same exact thing happened to Islam. They didn't want to fight him, so it just moved him along faster. As fights start dropping off and people don't want to fight him, and as those other fighters start losing, they start dropping off, and he just continues to move up the rankings. You don't think the UFC knows when they're being told no, they don't want to fight, or oh, I'm injured, no. Like, they already know that nobody wants to fight these fighters. Well, Corey Sandhagen will fight anybody. He's made it very clear. He's done it several times. This is a fight, though, where I don't think, like I agree with you, Rob Font is definitely the underdog. Rob has really kind of changed a little, I wouldn't say changed his style, but he has really isolated his style to just boxing. And if you're going to beat someone like a Corey Sandhagen, you've got to start evolving your game, getting better everywhere, doing what Corey did. Get better on the ground, get better on the feet, get better with little tricks up your sleeve. Corey Sandhagen has done that throughout his career, and that's why he still sits in that top echelon of fighters. That's why he's still there.
If you don't present more than a single aspect of the mixed martial arts world, you're just making a guy like Corey Sandhagen's life easy. He's only got to deal with really one aspect. That's not a good. You've got to make it to where he has to worry about all these elements, because if you just have the one, he's too good at setting things up, looking for moments, and then exploding on you. Like I said, I love Rob Font, and Rob Font can win because look, anybody can be knocked out, anybody can win the fight. I just look and I think this is a tough one. This is at a catch weight. I know of 140, so it's not at the bantamweight 135. That's good for both guys. It's not going to hurt either one. I've heard people, saying, "Oh, it's not right that Sandhagen has to fight." It doesn't matter as long as you're both matched up at the same weight, and it's not a championship fight. It does not matter what weight it's at, and it's more healthy for both of them. It's a good thing. But it's still a good fight. I just look and go, I'd be very surprised in the end if Corey Sandhagen's not the winner.
You might actually even get a better performance when both fighters know there's not a title on the line. You may get a better performance out of them because they're not depleted. We may see a little bit more aggression. We may see a better like you haven't depleted your body fully like you normally do to get to 140, 135. So I'm not against this at all. I mean, I understand where it's at. I had some concern about with the Patricky fight with D'Souza because everyone's having to make the 5 rounds. Everyone's have to make like that title weight, because it is in the tournament. And I was concerned about that. But this has no implications. You're not messing up a tournament. You're not doing anything like that. This is fine. 140 catch weights. Bellator does them all the time. I actually really like them, to be honest. If there's no titles on the line, let them do it.
There's no title that makes no difference as long as they're close in weight. Who cares?
Hey, but you know what, though? I'm going to be honest. This next fight, I'm really excited for. I think we're going to
disagree on this one.
You're not excited for it?
I am excited for it. I think we're going to disagree, though.
Oh, you think so?
I do. I really do. You're going to go for Jessica Andrade.
I'm not going for Jessica Andrade.
Oh, damn.
I'm not going for Jessica Andrade.
Josh Thompson, you're pulling a fast one on me.
I like Jessica Andrade. I like her a lot in terms of I love her style, the way she fights. I love that aggressiveness, big shots, good ground and pound. I love all that about her. Good takedown defense. But Tatiana Suarez, man, my concern only with Tatiana, she's only one fight removed from a long layoff. So she's got one fight in the bag. Is it 2?
I think it's 2.
I don't think so. I thought she just had.
Really?
No, I think this was her first fight back.
Pull up Suarez.
She was scheduled, remember, and she had to pull out. Yeah, 2019, 2023.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
She was scheduled, and then she had to pull out. I don't know if
is that what it was?
Yeah,
okay.
She was scheduled, and then she had to pull out, and then.
I was thinking it was 2.
Yeah, now she's
she's
back.
Right.
Apparently feeling really healthy, 9-0. I mean, I'm looking for her to make a title run, and everything I'm hearing about her, man. She's working some of these dudes over, the smaller dudes, obviously not guys her weight, but working some of the smaller dudes over on the ground. She's working a lot on her stand-up, getting better. You've seen the improvements in her boyfriend and Patchy Mix in terms of his stand-up. They're working together with their coaches that they have. They make each other better, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how much better she's getting because she's going to need to make sure she's pressing that action to keep Jessica Andrade from sitting down on that weight and throwing the big shots.
Yep.
But I think once this fight hits the ground, there's just, like you say, there's levels to this game, baby. And she's a completely different level of grappler than Jessica Andrade.
That's exactly it. It's not look Jessica Andrade. She's a stud. I love watching her fight. She's aggressive. She's got power, which not a lot of women at that weight can deliver the kind of power that Andrade can. But this is at 115 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. She is a rock at that as far as build, and she's a stud, but she's going to have a hard time keeping Suarez off of her in this fight.
No, I agree. I think the pressure, she'll use her long jab or use her big overhand right, whatever, to close that distance and get in close. And once she gets to the clinch, I think she's going to be able to get her down. And Suarez is not a small female.
No.
She's got a pretty big stature.
She's got a big frame.
Yeah, she's got a big frame. So she's got good wrestling. She's got obviously really good on the ground. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this fight turns out. And Jessica, she's not a big female either. In terms of that weight class. For the straw weight class, she's not a big female. So we'll see.
Yep. It's a good fight, though. Dustin Jacoby taking on Kennedy Nzechukwu. I think I actually got it right. So I like Kennedy. He's a good guy. He's from Fortis MMA there in Dallas. He's an unusual fighter because a lot of times he'll come out and he just kind of absorbs and just takes, and he's getting kind of lit up a little bit, and then all of a sudden he just starts turning it on and he starts landing good shots and he starts putting good fighters away. Dustin Jacoby is had a hell of a run right now in the UFC. He's got a lot of good wins. The real difference here, Kennedy super long, about 6'5".
Yeah.
You know, as far as height, super long arms. He uses that well. And Dustin has slowed down in his. He's not as aggressive. He's kind of done the whole Justin Gaethje thing. They're both fighting out of the same area in camps and stuff. And he's just like he's taking his time more. He's done well. I just don't know if the speed, because Kennedy's actually pretty damn fast for a big man, and if you don't keep the pressure on him, make him just feel like he has to be defensive. Once he starts feeling free in the fight and starts letting his hands go, look out. But it's a good matchup. It really is. In the stand-up, I think they're very close. On the ground, I'm going to give it to Kennedy.
Yeah, I also look at Kennedy though too. He has just like you said, a weird style in which he lets the fighter kind of do his thing.
Yep.
It's almost like as if he's figuring them out. Remember how Anderson Silva used to kind of give away the first round with all of his hand movements and his trying to
sit there and he would read all of your footwork, read where your hands are, what you do, how you step. Yep.
And then, I don't know if Kennedy's on that level in terms of what he does. Anderson Silva's level. Maybe he's just out there looking like, hey, guy in the middle, hit the guy in the middle. I don't know. It could be that. It could really be like that. But it just seems like he wants to figure out if the guy's fast, does the guy hit hard? He lets him do whatever in the first round, almost like giving the first round away. But when he does let go, it just seems to land and it seems to do damage and it seems to hurt people and just... I don't know. He finds a way. Like, hey, when I start touching you, you start going down. It's almost like that Jedi shit. You will hit the floor. Okay, he exactly. He gets it, and he's talented. He's good, and he finds ways to get it done. So it should be. I'm gonna lean more towards Kennedy, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean more towards.
Look, I love the Hanyak. First off, the nickname of Dustin Jacoby, the Hanyak. I love that.
No idea what that means.
It's a term of you're a Hanyak. You're like almost like you're a screw up, but you're a good guy. You're a Hanyak. But it's that'd
be a good name for me.
There you go. But he's been fighting great, and I love Dustin. Dustin's been fighting for a long time, and fought in Glory Kickboxing after being in MMA for a while, then came back to MMA. He could definitely win this fight. He has been fighting very well, so we're gonna find out. Diego Lopez against Gavin Tucker.
Is it Lopez or Lopes?
Lopes.
Yep. Okay, and then Gavin Tucker. Diego came in on short notice, right? His last fight?
Yes.
And had a great performance.
Great performance.
Didn't win, though, right?
Nope.
But I'm trying to remember who he fought. Who did he fight?
Oh, damn. I don't
Click on Diego Lopes.
He's out of the Alexa Grasso camp.
Yeah.
Evlov. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Took that to a decision. So he had a great performance. He really did.
He did.
He really came after Evloff in that fight. So that was fun to watch. Going against Gavin Tucker. Gavin's a tough guy. If the same guy in Diego Lopes comes after Gavin Tucker in that way, come away with a win.
Yeah, I think Diego, if he has a little bit more cardio, because like you could tell in the later rounds, he was really he wanted to do more. He was doing more, but it was just he was leaving himself out
in the beginning.
Yeah, but he did it, but either telegraphed it enough to where he got taken down or just controlled or whatever it was. But he just did so. It was kind of like laboring it through instead of being clean and crisp. And with a guy like Evloff, you're just not going to get the win that way. So, but good for him. I think he's going to have a great performance as long as he shows up. Doesn't take this position for granted, like the opportunity for granted. I think he ends up getting the win as well.
Yep. Tanner Boser out of Canada coming back into the light heavyweight. I think his last fight, it was at light heavyweight also. Going up against Alexa Kamur. Alexa. I don't get that name.
No. Alexa?
Yeah, it seems like Alexa.
Yeah. Alexa? Yeah.
Alexa.
Okay.
Like Alexa Grasso.
Alexa Grasso. Interesting. I don't know. What do you think of Tanner?
Look, he's a tough dude. I refereed Tanner when he was in Russia, and he was fighting all the Russians and everything over there. He is a good, solid fighter. He can take a lot of abuse. He's good at being a nail for a while in the fight and then just turning it around and becoming the hammer and doing good work. I think this is actually a good matchup for him. I look at when you look at someone that's got a lot of speed, that usually slows Tanner down. He doesn't match up well with that. When you look at someone that likes to bang and brawl, Tanner does well.
All right. Any other fights on here? I know there's one that I want to talk about, but I want to get all the way down to Jake Hadley. I love this kid. Think he's dynamite.
I think you got two on here. You got Billy Quarantillo.
Thank you.
Against Damon Jackson. That's a hell of a matchup. Damon Jackson got a great submission game. So does Billy. Billy's got a hell of a gas tank. I love that matchup at featherweight. And I also love the Raoni Barcelos fight going up against Kyler Phillips out of Arizona. Kyler Phillips is a phenomenally skilled fighter.
Doesn't get the credit he deserves either. We don't get a lot of buzz about him
does
after the fights. He's good. He's talented.
Yes, super
he's relaxed.
talented.
Super relaxed.
But so is Barcelos' last loss was against Umar.
No,
and you look and you go, man, he's got good wrestling. He's got good stand-up. His jits game is good. That's a great matchup right there. That's an interesting fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Jake Hadley fight just because he's young, he's good,
tough.
He's tough, but he's making his improvements. He's coming out. I love what he says after his fights inside the cage against Cody Durden. Durden's tough. We know how good he is. I think this is a good step up in competition though for Hadley.
It's a good. I think it's Cody's got good wrestling. I refereed Cody back in Georgia long ago at a small show. He's confident. He's mouthy. Jake Hadley, tough as hell. This should be a great fight.
Gonna be a good fight. All right, hey, that's gonna wrap up our UFC talk. We're gonna get into a couple other shows, the PFL and the One Championships. We're not gonna talk about every single fight, but we will make fun of some of their fighters based on that they look identical to each other. I was trying to figure out if one was just a trim beard, and one wasn't, but they look they look exactly alike.
Yeah, Alazov and Kiria, they're brothers, dude. Chingiz Alazov, we used to call his fights. He used to be in Bellator kickboxing. Great stand-up fighter. He's just a phenomenal technician, tough as hell. But he's got his fight against Marat Grigorian. That's a great matchup. Grigorian, super talented. You're talking about Alazov and him.
It's gonna be fireworks.
You're asking, it's World Championship kickboxing match? Yeah. It should be. It's fantastic.
Grigorian is a beast. Good pressure, good counter striker also. Speed with his knees. I mean, everything he does will be explosive. But I look at the next fight with the next grappling match, Jared Brooks versus Musa Mechi.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mikey.
Come on.
I know.
Where'd you get this fight? Nothing against Jared, man, but I
love Jared Brooks. He's a good guy. But he is levels wise as far as grappling. I say it all the time. And I just went to a jiu-jitsu school and talked, and I told him, hey, this is something you want to do for life, and this is the reasons why. And it came to it. And I talked about nerd assassins.
Yeah.
Hello, Mikey.
Yeah.
Mikey is a nerd assassin. This guy is so good on the ground. He steps, he's chess moves. We're talking 3 and 4 chess moves ahead of his opponent. That's where he's at as he mentally goes through things, because he's not that guy that has the physical strength, to overpower people. He doesn't have great speed. He's none of those things. He just is so far ahead of you mentally in the game of where he wants to go and how he's going to get there, that he just makes people just farther and farther. They can't catch up, and all of a sudden they're caught in something, and he's winning the match. He's phenomenal to watch.
Yeah. I'm going to skip over the next kickboxing match, but then you go all the way down here to John Lineker versus Kim Ja Woong. I'm going to have to be honest. I don't know anything about Kim Ja Woong, but I know John Lineker pretty damn well.
Yep.
Yeah. And then my guy. Go ahead.
Well, you got to go. Okay, let's go with your guy real quick. Marcus Almeida Buchecha is fighting against Umar Kane, who is from Senegal. I don't know if you ever watched Senegalese wrestling.
Yep.
That's where he came from. Super strong, big power. Buchecha, you're looking at this when you talk about Senegalese wrestling, it's not just wrestling.
Nope.
There's strikes involved and everything, the way they do it and stuff. Buchecha has to be careful on the feet.
Yeah.
The man, I'm telling you, Kane has got freaking power. He can put anybody out right away. He's very athletic. He's very fast. So Buchecha, look, on the ground, he's going to be the dominant guy. He's going to be able to do what he wants for the most part, I believe, and get to the positions that would, give him the win. But he needs to be careful when he decides to go for the takedown, because there's one thing that Buchecha is not. He's not a takedown guy.
Nope.
And he needs to be careful, and when he decides to try to get that takedown on Mr. Kane.
His takedowns aren't bad.
Not bad. They're just not good.
No, they're not great. And what it is, though,
not a strength.
He can get into positions where it's kind of like pulling guard. You get to the body lock, kind of like hook the outside leg and kind of drag you down into a deep half. He can do something like that. He's got a really good half guard game. All the years of training with Lucas Leitch and those guys, and just that whole half guard series. I mean, he's got it down pat, and he's good in that type of positions, especially in MMA. Kane just got to be careful with the big shots. That's the biggest thing with Buchecha. He's got to be careful with the big shots. And when he's on top, when Buchecha's on bottom, he can't afford just to think, okay, I'm going to start attacking submissions and not worry about defending. Keep your hand, keep your position, keep them at bay, at distance with your knees, using your legs, keep that range.
As long as you can get that frame, to keep him away from you, you're okay. You keep your feet up on the hip, okay. You got to be able to move his body somehow. You got to be able to off-balance him somehow. If you're not doing that, then you need to think about defending.
100%. All right, well, let's gonna wrap up our one talk. Let's go ahead and jump right into the PFL. There's a couple fights on there we wanted to talk about, give mentions to and stuff, and let's go.
Bubba Jenkins main event. Hello, Bubba. You have moved up in the ranks of the PFL. Congratulations, dude. He's been fighting really well. He's been getting better and better. He's taking on Mr. Jesus Pinedo, who had a fantastic. This is all about the playoffs now, because it was the points. These are the guys that, points wise match up and everything. So Bubba Jenkins now being one of those guys that the PFL he gets one win here. He's fighting for $1 million again. That's what he did last year.
Pinedo with the pressure, though. The pressure, the aggressiveness, the mixing up. He's got good boxing. And look, we know, and as much as I love Bubba, he don't like to be hit.
Nope.
Most guys, they're like, oh, I'll take one, give one.
Hold on. He can definitely out-wrestle Mr. Pinedo.
This is very true. And he's definitely got the grind. Bubba's a stud, man. He just has up and downs. Like, he just hasn't been consistent throughout his career. Doing really well, and then all of a sudden drops one or two. Does really well, drops one or two. But I got to be honest, in these last in these last 3 seasons, he's looked phenomenal. He's come up short almost, he's come up short all 3 times. But he's been progressively getting better every time he steps in that cage, which is kind of it's unheard of, really. When guys start to get up in age, things start they stop getting rid of their wrestling. They start becoming more of a stand-up fighter. They start doing it. Not him. He's still grinding on you. He's still wrestling with you. He's really putting the pressure on people, making them defend his wrestling. And I think that's been the key to his victories. Look, we had a great conversation with Danny Sabatello, and he's like, "No, man." He's like, I know what I'm good at. I know that I'm good on the ground. I know I can wrestle. He's like, now I just got to get better on the grappling and the jiu-jitsu. And Bubba's kind of taking the same route. He's also gotten better in the grappling areas as well, and control, but he's helped improve his stand-up, which has helped his wrestling. It becomes a lot easier. Like Darren Caldwell, right? Darren Caldwell, national champ, phenomenal wrestler. Never felt comfortable on the feet, and every single fight he would get tired because he had to wrestle so much because he was not comfortable on the feet. Bubba went through a very similar situation throughout his career, and now
Dewey Cooper changed it for him.
Exactly, and he's just way better now. He's gotten more comfortable on the feet. He understands that getting hit, it's not the end of the world. Okay, just don't get hit clean. Roll the shoulder. Okay, tuck this. Turn the back.
Go
a little
with the
bit.
shot.
Yeah, go with the shot. All those things, and I think he's gotten so much better, and I love to see his success, man. I like Bubba Jenkins a lot.
Yeah.
Next
fight on that. This Joshua Silveira against Ty Flores. This is actually a really good fight. I really enjoy watching, the sons of ex-fighters come in and do well. And Conan Silveira being a guy who is a great coach at ATT, his son Joshua has just turned into, he's a good fighter. He is solid. And I'm going to sit there and say, every bit as good a fighter as his dad was, technically probably better, and He's done very well in the PFL. It's someone that I think that they can actually continue to put, some marketing behind, and he could be a star because the guy can fight.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He's 11-1. He's got a good record, and I mean, like you said, when you got the lineage of your family, and then also too, just the gyms that back him, like with Severe, he's still over at ATT, correct?
Yep.
You got a plethora of talented people there. You're just getting better and getting better every single time. So, yeah, good for him. What about Gabriel Braga versus Chris Wade?
That's a good fight. I'm being honest. That's probably, you look at everything here in matchup wise, it's one of the best fights on the card.
Probably should have been main event. Not trying to take it away from Bubba Jenkins, but stylistically.
I don't think you could do that because Bubba Jenkins beat Chris Wade earlier in the damn year as far as things. So I got to go with Bubba being that main event.
I get it. I understand what you're saying, but I know what you're saying. For me, to the one that's going to bring the most action, this is going to be this one.
Most interesting fight?
Yeah. I think Bubba's going to get on Pineda and just control the top position and do some work. I think in this fight, they're going to both be forced to stand. There's both be a little bit of grappling, a little bit of wrestling, but then
I think their grappling kind of
offsets,
cancels out. Yep.
There you go. What other fights on here you want to talk about?
Oh, you know what? I got to go down to Desiree Yanez, Dirty Dez fighting Lisa Molden in that. Dirty Dez, I really enjoy her as a fighter. Enjoy her as a person. She's a sweetheart of a person. She comes to fight. You know what she's going to throw down. And when they call her Dirty Dez, as far as her nickname, it's not that she's a dirty fighter, but she will get grimy in the fight.
I agree. Look, I'm going to give a little love to my boy, man, Keone Diggs. I know he was over at Bellator.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
Keone and I were friends before he even came to Bellator, so he's always been a great guy. I've met so many top-level Hawaiian fighters that are just good people and love being around them. This guy he couldn't catch a break over in Bellator. He was winning some close fights, and I think just finally was like, hey, we're not going to re-up, or I don't know what the situation was, but he found himself in
He
PFL.
lost a couple. He lost a couple in a row and stuff.
Yeah. He's only 10-2 though, John. He's 10-2. Look, we've
lost a couple in a row.
We've given some people some opportunities.
First off, I haven't done any of that.
Yeah.
I like Keone. He's a good person. He's heavy-handed as hell, man. So
yeah, he's heavy-handed.
He can put anyone to sleep.
Got good takedown defense. And Espinoza, I don't know anything about him. I'm going to be honest, man. He's 8-0 though, but I don't know anything about him. But Keone's not someone you want to have your first fight against normally. Keone's he's got good hips, good on top. He's got good pressure, got good ground and pound. He's got great boxing. I feel like he should utilize his kicks a little bit more, but he doesn't. But he's got hands. He's got hands. In the fights that he's lost, it just comes down to he just got to pull the trigger. That's the biggest thing. If he just sets down and throws in his combinations, man, I mean, he can put anybody away. So I'm looking forward to see how he performs under a new banner. It's always hard to have your first fight in a new promotion. We'll see.
Yeah, it is.
Best of luck to him. All right, that's going to wrap up our PFL talk. Dave, you got a little bit of news for us, right? You got a couple little things we could talk about? Oh,
yes.
Shit, here we go.
Snap. There you go.
Here we go.
Look who's back fighting the big dogs. It's Johnny Walker.
Careful what you wish for, buddy. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, man. This is what I talk about. It's like, hey, it's great to be exciting. You have got to fight your fight. Don't fight the way the promoter wants you to fight. Fight the way that your style and your body was made for and the way that you were brought up. Don't fight just to get knockouts. Fight to be smart. Fight smart fights and you'll get wins. And that's what Johnny Walker's been doing the last 3 or 4 fights. But he's got a hell of a fucking matchup here against Ankalaev.
I mean,
tough.
Yeah. To see Ankalaev and see how well-rounded he is, see how good he is in the wrestling, doesn't utilize it as much as he should, but he's got good stand-up. He's fallen in love with his stand-up.
Yes, he has.
But he's got to be very careful with Johnny Walker because on the feet, he could decapitate you. And so if Johnny Walker is patient about it, doesn't blow his wad, doesn't expend the energy when he doesn't need to, keep his back off the fence. I don't know, man. I mean, I could see Johnny catching him, clipping him in the first round. Getting in some exchanges.
I'm telling you right now, I can see Johnny Walker hurting him when he's going for one of his takedowns. Johnny's got good balance. He likes to throw shots when people are trying to take him down. He throws good elbows to the side of the head. Ankalaev needs to be very smart about the way he goes about trying to get Walker to the ground.
I think what you'll see is Ankalaev maybe wrestle early or fill him out, fight at a slow pace early, try to keep him at bay. And then as the fight goes on, you'll see Johnny Walker start to slow down a little bit. But this should probably only be a 3-round fight. You'll have Islam as the main event.
Yeah.
3-round fight. Unless there's title implications. I mean, I could see a double co-main event. You never know.
Negative. It's going to be a 3-round fight.
Man, John, why are you always trying to rain on my parade?
I know you're trying to go there, but let's just be honest. This is going to be a 3-round
John
fight.
always trying to rain on my parade. Next.
Just blowing it out.
All right. Kevin Gastelum announces an injury that has basically forced him to withdraw.
You've seen this, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go balls deep here in a second.
Okay, I'll let you go hard.
I'm going to go balls deep.
All right.
You want me to play the full clip for you guys?
Yeah, play the full clip.
All right, give me 1 second here. Just got to get the mic.
So this is a clip of the training. I don't know if any of you saw Sergio Pettis against Horiguchi, but he did
Shavkat Rakhmonov is off. I received an elbow that resulted in an open fracture and a few bones that came out fractured. And I have to apologize to everybody that's been, everybody was excited for this fight. I apologize to everybody. My apologize to Shavkat Rakhmonov and his team. I feel bad. I feel very horrible about this unfortunate incident. I'll be back. I'm still going to continue training. I can still do my strength and conditioning training, movement. I can still do a lot of my training with my trainer, Noah Feinberg. I asked to move it up to November. Hopefully they grant me this wish. That'll be November 11th in Madison Square Garden. It's hard to be a Kelvin Gastelum fan sometimes. I know we go through ups and downs together, but I promise we're fighting to get back on the horse and get back on that winning streak and continue it.
I hope to see him back. I hope to see this fight happen in November. But let me just tell you, I would never fucking spar with that partner again. That move, that technique, no elbow pads. I literally would have thrown my gloves off and started punching and fighting him for real. Pissed. It would have been a real fight at that moment. Look, I get it. You throw the head kick, you miss. You could throw the spinning back fist, but that was an elbow. And maybe he was waiting for the arm to come out. I don't know. But John, that was straight elbow. His arm was fully bent, almost in a right angle, maybe even less than a right angle. He'd have been better off if he had straightened the arm out for a spinning back fist. Absolutely. He would have caught more of maybe would have had to cut over the eye or something. But look, I got to be honest though. This fight is, if I was the UFC, I'd be pushing this fight just to November because look, you're paying a ton just to turn the lights on in MSG. It costs about $500,000 to turn the lights on there just to turn. It's ridiculous. And so you might as well stack that card as much as you can and up the ticket prices. If you're going to have a fight like this on there, I'd pay a little extra to make sure that he was on there, man. I love this. I love Gastelum. I love the way he fights. And I think him and Shavkat would be a fantastic fight. Why not bump it to that card? He's got some fractures in there. Give you some time to heal, my man. But if I don't see that fight happen, or at least happen here, then I wish you nothing but the best in speedy recovery. But man, I think if I'm the UFC, I'm putting that fight together in November. What's your take? What's your take on a guy doing that, sparring like that?
First off, it's stupid. Let's just be honest. When you're sparring someone who's getting ready for a fight, you're not ever throwing anything full power, and you're never putting an elbow on somebody or a knee on somebody towards their head, or you can do it towards the body. But mistakes do happen. I don't think this guy did that on purpose.
Absolutely not.
And I know that he felt like shit afterwards. Think about it, Josh. How bad do you think he felt? He knew as soon as that happened and Kevin said, "Oh shit, stop." And he walked away, and as soon as Kevin turned his face towards him, he went, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
He didn't want it to happen, but yeah, I can understand you get mad at him, but that was not, in no way can I believe that guy ever meant to actually land that. Look, he just made the movement, and unfortunately, Kelvin came in at that time too.
We had a guy at our gym named Mowgli. Good striker.
Yeah, I remember Mowgli.
Yeah, Mowgli. Great striker. Yeah. Phenomenal. He would train with elbow pads on. And one of the probably, I don't know, after like a year sparring with him and stuff, and he would always try to throw elbows. And I was like, "Hey man, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I was like 36, 37 by the time him and I were like, I was younger, like 35, 36, somewhere around there. And I was sparring with him. This kid's young, throwing elbows at me, and he was fast. He fucking kicked like a mule. He punched like his jab was hard. He had a good overhand left because he was southpaw. Like he just super good on the feet, but he would throw elbows and we'd be clinching. He'd throw an elbow, and I got it. I understand what you mean by it helps you get ready for the fight. But there will be no fight if this type of stuff happens. And so you've got to be cautious and careful with these type of things. If you don't see your opponent as you do your spin and see where he's at, because it ain't about you. When I'm there as a sparring partner, it's not about you.
Nope. It's all about getting the other guy ready. That was one of the, at least that's what I was told from a couple of the guys there. But, one of the biggest reasons why Khabib liked to spar with me, Islam liked to spar with me, was I pushed the pace, but I never did anything to hurt them. There was a lot of it is like, no, especially with Khabib. He always had some issues with, either he got hurt or he had a hard time making weight or whatever it was. He didn't want to do anything that would potentially get him taken out of a fight. So he didn't spar with anybody that would potentially hurt him or do something that he just wasn't prepared for. He just didn't want to, he didn't want to go through that. The other thing is everyone's like, oh, well, you have to be ready for everything. But it's hard to get ready for everything if I'm constantly hurt and can't train everything. So you got to look at it that way. And all the progress you're making, like he's back on the win track. He's getting ready for this big fight. Now all the progress at 170.
170, and all the progress he was making, it now just kind of plateaus or it drops a little bit because now he can't spar. Now it's going to be hard for him to hit mitts because he's got probably gauze stuffed up his nose because he broke his nose. There's a lot of things that you can't do. And those 3 or 4 weeks off, everyone's like, oh, maybe he needs a break. It's good for you. Get a rest. No. A rest is like, okay, look, I only train once a day. Or I skip a day and then I go back and I'm able to train. Not being able to do the active stuff, the grappling, the wrestling, all those things set you back. He can't grapple, he can't wrestle because you get bumped in it, it's going to fracture and you'll be stuck going back to ground zero. So these are these are setbacks. These are huge setbacks in your evolution and in developing yourself at a 170 pounder instead of a 185 pounder. So I'd be really frustrated, man. I'd be really frustrated. It would have, but hey, he's a better man than me because I would have thrown the gloves off and would have started fighting for real. Right?
Sean Strickland agrees with you, Josh. He's in the comments here. Spinning elbow, man. These guys need to stop with that BS. I swear everyone in the gym today is a ballerina.
I love me some Strickland, man. I love me some Strickland. But look, I understand you've got to use the techniques because fighters have to be prepared for it. But it's in training. My objective is to get to the fight. And like I said, your sparring partner should know it's not about you. It's not about him, or her, whatever. It's about the fighter that's getting there. It's about me. It's about me getting to the fight. It's about Kelvin Gastelum getting to the fight. And so it's frustrating. When I saw it, I sent it right to our news channel there, and I was like, man, we got to talk about this shit. This is horrible. Yeah. But
just not smart, but.
It's the game.
Again, I don't think he did it on purpose.
He absolutely did not do it on purpose.
As far as I don't think he landed it on purpose. He did the technique on purpose. I don't think he landed it on purpose.
No, John, because he didn't see where Kelvin was. Yeah, he just threw it blindly.
Kelvin came in. Yeah.
But he just threw it blind. That's even worse. I can't have sparring partners like that are doing shit like that. Yeah. Anyways. All right. What else you got for us there, Dave?
So that's all I have in the way of news. Do you guys have anything if we want to do like an open forum or anything? Otherwise, I can throw something at you that maybe we can roll with.
Give me something.
Open forum.
Yeah. What? Like just anything you guys have in your mind. Okay.
What did we talk? What was on the show 2 days ago? You had like a list. That was one of them we didn't talk about.
No, there wasn't.
I thought there was. I saw a list.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, you know what? Though, go back to where you were. I want to go back to the rankings. Go back to the rankings. Okay. I do have a question for you. Where do you see with Corey Sandhagen with a win over Rob Font? Where do we put him now? Do you put him in that title talk? You put him right there. He should be right there.
The only thing you can do with Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font is bump him. If he wins, he may bump over Henry Cejudo. You can't have him bumping over O'Malley because O'Malley's getting the next shot at Aljo. And then Merab is sitting there at how many fights undefeated now. So He's not changing.
Why not Corey versus Merab then, to see who fights the winner of Sean? And I mean, Sterling's going to go to, he said 45 after this fight. He's not staying there after this fight.
Okay.
Unless they're waiting for the Merab and Henry fight. And then that just leaves Corey to fight if Sean loses, maybe to fight Sean to put himself in that mix. I mean, Corey's in a really weird position right now because you don't want to fight Peter Yan again because you have a loss to him, but that's a tough fight. Hell no. Yeah. You don't want that fight. So, I think we'll see what happens really with Sterling. He's been saying for the last couple of fights he's going to 45. But then let me ask you this: let's say he beats Sean, which I kind of believe he might. If he does beat Sean, does he get up?
Believe he might.
Yeah. Okay. Look, Sean's movement. He's no slouch on the ground either. I mean, he's not as good as Sterling. Yeah, he's not as good as Sterling on the ground, but he's good on the ground. His push kick up the middle really kind of, I think that will help set the tempo. The long jab, as long as he aims low. I think it's going to be more of the push kick is what I think. That push kick to the face, that push kick up the middle, that'll keep Sterling kind of, ooh, shit, should I shoot now? Should I not? But let's not forget, Sterling can strike also.
Sterling striking is not bad.
Yeah.
And he can strike with Sean O'Malley for a while. I think you're right about that. Sean is probably the crisper. I don't know if he has more power. I think they're close. Mm-hmm. But the big difference in this is Sean O'Malley is a good grappler. Aljamain Sterling is a good grappler, and he's a good wrestler. Mm-hmm. Sean O'Malley's not a good wrestler.
No. I think the long jab and the long push kick up the middle, if he doesn't get those things started early, maybe even start working on the calf kick, but he's got to be careful he doesn't get the leg caught and get taken down. Sean's grappling is...
If there's one thing that Aljo has shown, go back to the Peter Yan, especially the second fight. He catches that kick very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We will see, man. That's going to be... I'm just interested to see what happens with Corey Sandhagen after, if he does beat Rob Font, and what happens then. We'll see. What else you got there for us, Dave? What else you thinking?
Well, I was going to ask a similar deal with light heavyweight. We just had Pereira and Blachowicz, and just kind of the new state of the division. Okay.
I think it's really simple. If you're taking a look at Yuri's got to be coming off of his injury now. Okay. He's had time with that shoulder. He had it surgically fixed. Mm-hmm. He's gone through rehab. He's got to be starting to really, get back into training. Mm-hmm. You just had Alex Pereira fight, this last week. He gets the win against Yan. You have Magomed, who is now fighting Johnny Walker. So that's a setup, his fight right there. So when Yuri comes back, Jamal Hill has now relinquished that title. It's the same as Yuri did. Yuri should be the first guy that gets a shot at it. Doesn't matter if it's Jamal Hill or not. I would put Yuri against Pereira.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. It just depends on how long until Yuri is ready to come back. I mean, he may still be till January. You never know.
He might.
And if that's the case, then what you do is you probably have the winner of Ankalaev and Johnny Walker fight Alex. The winner of that fight Alex for the title.
It's possible.
Because Rakic, I think, is still out with the knee.
Jamal's not going to be back. No. Excuse me, as podcast day would say, Jamal will not be back in time. It's going to take him, based upon the injury that he had. He's going to be out for a good 9 months.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of excited to see Alex fight for a vacant title. Because if he wins the title at 205 and he wins at 10, he'd beat Izzy at 185. I mean, this guy's done. He will have done more in the sport than any other fighter in 6 fights, 7 fights.
In there. 8 fights.
Yeah, it's crazy. So winning 2 championship belts in 8 fights. Come on. I'm gonna go back to the same thing though with the Justin Gaethje thing. Do not be surprised if Justin Gaethje ends up fighting Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi. I could see Charles being like, hey, why take my chance in Abu Dhabi in his home turf where I've lost to him last time and I'm not quite ready yet. I want to get more training in. I want to focus more on what my game plan is. and see what happens. Because if Justin wins, that slides you right in. And if Justin doesn't win, well, then you can fight him at a later date, like you said. I mean, because what's going to happen is he's going to want to fight again before Ramadan, which Ramadan will probably be next year around April. So you'll probably get another fight in around December or January. He'll probably want to fight again, Islam, like right before Ramadan. Maybe even try and get 2 in before Ramadan. But yep, that's just my thought process on that whole deal. But hey, that's going to wrap up our midweek show. And we are going to be doing a live tonight, Thursday night. We're going to do a live on our OnlyFans channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to us, though. OnlyFans.com/weighing in. It's free, guys. Just subscribe to us over there at OnlyFans.com/weighing in. It's free. We're going to do a live show tonight. Just probably about 40 minutes to an hour. We'll try and, it depends. As many questions come in, we'll try to answer them and talk to you guys and get them all answered out for you. And if there's something that comes up, any news that drops between now and then, we're going to go ahead and talk about that as well. What you got for me, John? You feel like you have something that came out of your mind?
I screwed up and then I forgot. I had someone on Twitter that asked about the Gaethje kick on Dustin Poirier. And it's surprising to me that fans still, he tried to say, he kicked him to the back of the head. It's like, okay, they're facing each other. Because someone's foot goes around to the back of the head, that is not kicking your opponent to the back of the head. It has to be a targeted attack to that area. And there's no way you can do that while you're facing your opponent. Okay. So I wanted to put it out there. Look, first off, it was not the foot that caused Dustin to go down. It was the shin that hit his arm, that forced his arm into his own head and put enough static shock into that concussed him and put him down. That was totally legal. Everything was beautifully done by Justin Gaethje. I can't take it when people try to sit there and say that was a foul. Stop. Where did that come from, Josh?
I don't know. I mean, if that's what we're calling fouls, then man, I'm going to say that Yves Edwards' kick was a foul then.
I'm going back in time.
Yeah. Them damn judges, man, or refs. I mean, they just make mistakes.
Refs screwed me every time.
No, it happens, man. And look, and really what it was if you looked at him, if you looked at Dustin, he was still awake. He just hit everything. He just shut down. It was basically a very similar kick on how Yves caught me with it. It hit and it just, what do you call it? Some sort of nerve? The brachial stunt. The brachial stunt. The stumpy nerve.
Stumpy nerve attack.
Like I try to explain to people, I go, when I got kicked by Yves, I was awake the whole way down. I saw myself falling and hitting the ground. I hit the ground and I
tried to use your arms and they didn't work.
Yeah, same thing happened when I had fought Hermes Franca. He didn't kick me there, but he hit me and he hit me clean. But I was still awake and I could see myself falling to the ground. But in the Yves fight, I actually fell and was facing upwards. And I could see him running towards me. And then I saw him do the little 2 punches. And there's nothing I could do. I couldn't move my arms, but I could see it all happening. People were always say, oh, I don't remember anything after I got knocked out. I was like, no, I remembered the whole damn thing. I was like,
you weren't knocked out.
Yeah, I wasn't knocked out until he hit me 2 more times. Then I was knocked out. Then it kind of short circuited and I got up and I was like a little woozy and stuff. But I couldn't bring my hands up to block my face. I couldn't do anything. And so, but no, it happens, man. This is the game. But that little short circuit, because you can see Dustin looked like he was still awake. He was still, his eyes were open, but he was actually kind of like looking up a little bit. And you could see him it looked like he looked a little bit towards Justin, but he's out. And as soon as that's what we didn't talk about was the people's elbow. We didn't talk about the people's elbow.
People's knee. Yeah. The people's knee.
He hit him with the people's elbow, man. He came sliding in and the arm came right across the chest. Boom. I don't even know who does podcast, Dave. Who does the people's elbow?
Well, who do you think? The Rock?
Oh, okay. Champ? I don't know these things, man. I stopped watching WWE way before the Rock.
But you got to wind it up and do the kick out with the leg.
Yeah.
Because that intensifies the blow. That's why.
It
works so well.
I would have thought like someone like the people's elbow was like more like a Macho Man thing, because he had the elbow from the top turnbuckle, man. That was the real shit. Not this like little tiny stuff.
I'll tell you what, an elbow from the top turnbuckle if it was real, that would hurt.
Oh yeah, these guys, man, the way that that's why all those guys were broken. I mean, geez, you hear the stories about some of those. I watched some of the old school wrestling. I even watched some of the old school. Did you watch the documentary on the what was it? The Gladiators? Remember the American Gladiators? Did you watch that documentary?
I did watch
Man,
it. All you're talking about the series?
Yeah, they're all fucked up.
Oh yeah,
all of them. They're all withered away. They were all juiced out of their minds. They were
druggy looking.
Yeah, they all look like they've been on. They hit some hard times for a bit. Yeah. I mean, shit. One of them was talking about how he has roommates and lives like in a one little bunk bed area. I was like, jeez.
Well, yeah, okay. Give you a little fact here though, because the guy who was actually the one that invented the American Gladiators was a Apache Dan Carr. There's a guy, Johnny, what's his name? I can't think of it. Johnny something or other, who he was the one that got the money. But Apache Dan Carr, who was a iron worker in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I think he's out of Peoria, Pennsylvania. Part of the iron worker. He came up with the whole gladiator thing. American Gladiators is what he called it, and he had his iron workers do it. And he was a big, lifter and tough guy. But he actually had the very first mixed martial arts competition before the UFC. It was in the 1980s. I can't think exactly what year, but he had a no holds barred with the iron workers in frickin' East Pennsylvania. He had an actual thing that people look at and go, yeah, that was actually the first MMA because it was no rules. It was before the UFC. So the same guy, Apache Dan Carr, who started the American Gladiators, actually had the very first MMA fight in the States.
Wow.
Kinda cool.
That's impressive. True. Man, this guy, whoever this guy is, he's still alive? I want to pick his brain, see if he can come up with some new ideas.
He is still alive.
I bet he is.
He's pretty unique individual.
He's the guy that they said that they couldn't interview him because in the contract of this, and they were supposed to be friends. You guys got to watch it. It's the American Gladiator documentary. I think it's like a little short docu-series or whatever it is on.
It's on
Netflix,
ESPN.
ESPN. Oh, ESPN. You are right. It's ESPN.
Like ESPN 30 for 30 type.
Yeah, but it's
a series.
It was pretty crazy because you see, man, that guy who was running it was kind of the face of it all. Just a total Don King. A fucking just a snake.
Johnny something. I can't think of it. He's the Elvis Presley impersonator, man.
Yep. Yeah. Look fucking just like Elvis Presley. He's still dressed like that, like a fucking moron.
Which only tells you what?
He's a fucking idiot. he's a fucking crook. He's that old 70s, 60s, 70s fucking. He still wears the Elvis looking fucking pants and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys like that. See, guys like that, you can run into a fucking alley one day and just
not come out.
No, fuck. I can't stand.
I know that's a horrible thing to say.
No, it's not really.
It won't be me.
You see the things. I mean, like I said, that Apache Dan guy, right?
Oh, dude,
he suckered
If
him.
I was him,
if
I was him, if the money that he lost based upon what that guy actually did,
let's go back. All right. Well, hey, I was
door one time. That would be it.
I was trying to end this on a good note, but John,
I'm sorry.
But hey, guys, make sure you guys subscribe to us over at OnlyFans.com tonight. Sorry for the live show. We're gonna do that and go to WayneandMerch.com, pick up some of our merch there and available for you. John, take us away.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show here. We're sorry that we were late with both of our shows, the last one and then this one here, but that's because we were traveling, and there's a whole lot that goes on with traveling. It's not easy because the airlines always leave us stranded. So we want to say thank you for coming back, tuning in, and we will see you.